Stop wasting money on flowers that die by August. If you've ever called yourself a black thumb, these 15 perennials were built for you. According to Penn State Extension, the average annual flower bed costs $144.50 a year, and by August, half those plants are gone anyway. These 15 perennials cost you once. In the next 12 minutes, I'll show you 15 low-maintenance perennials that beginners actually keep alive, each one with the specific reason why neglecting it makes it perform better. And number 1? Overfeed it, and it trades its flowers for floppy, leggy leaves. I'll tell you which one and what it actually wants instead at the very end. Every single one of these has a built-in survival switch that turns neglect into better blooms, tougher stems, or deeper roots. Plant it and forget it. That's not a tagline. That's the actual biology. Here's what we're covering. The reason your annuals keep dying by August isn't bad luck. It's that they're designed to need you every season, every year. These 15 plants evolved for the opposite. Each one has a specific neglect trigger. Drought activates fragrance in one, lean soil tightens structure in another, and one trades flowers for floppy leaves the moment you overfeed it. We'll count down from 15 to 1 with the USDA zone, the use case bucket, whether you're dealing with deer, limited mobility, or a stubborn black thumb, and a pet safety flag for every plant that needs one. All 15 in about 12 minutes. Plant number 1, the fertilizer mistake plant, is at the very end. Number 15, Black-Eyed Susan, Rudbeckia hirta. Zones 3 through 9. And good news for pet owners, it's completely pet safe. This one self-seeds freely, meaning once you plant it, the plant plants itself the following year. The fibrous root system holds in hard clay, poor drainage, and full sun. It blooms from June into October with no deadheading, no fertilizer, and no staking. The flowers are gold and rust, and they pull in pollinators from late summer straight through the first frost. If you've got a sunny, neglected patch where nothing else has survived, this is your starting point. Number 14. Purple coneflower, Echinacea purpurea. Zones 3 through 9. Pet safe too. Here's the thing about Echinacea. It actually improves in year 2 and year 3 as the taproot deepens and widens. The more you baby it with water past establishment, the weaker that root system gets. Here's the common mistake. Water it consistently through that first summer, and you keep the taproot shallow, and a shallow root means sparse blooms. Leave it alone the second year, and the same plant in the same spot can triple its flower count. Number 13. Daylily, Hemerocallis. Zones 3 through 9. One important safety flag first. Daylily is acutely toxic to cats. According to the ASPCA Animal Poison Control Center, even a small ingestion can cause kidney failure within 24 hours. If you've got cats, skip this one entirely. If you don't, it's one of the most forgiving plants on this list. There are over 80,000 registered daylily cultivars, one of the widest ranges of any ornamental plant in cultivation. They spread by natural clump division, and they shrug off drought, poor soil, road salt, and near-total neglect. The flowers last 1 day each, but new buds open continuously over a several-week season. Number 12. Hosta. Zones 3 through 9. A safety note up front. Hosta is toxic to both dogs and cats if eaten per the ASPCA. It causes vomiting and digestive distress, so plant it where your pets don't roam. With that handled, hostas want shade, and in exchange, they ask for almost nothing else. No fertilizer needed once established. They go fully dormant in winter, disappear below the soil line, and re-emerge in spring looking completely healthy. Number 11. Karl Forster grass, Calamagrostis acutiflora. Zones 4 through 9. 4 to 6 feet tall, architectural, swaying in the wind, and giving you winter structure when everything else has died back. The dried seed heads catch the morning frost and hold their shape through February, rain or shine. This grass thrives in poor soils and handles drought without complaint. You cut it back once in early spring, takes about a minute, no special tools, and that's your complete annual maintenance. If you want something that looks intentional from the street, without any ongoing work, Karl Forster earns its place. Number 10. Bleeding Heart, Lamprocapnos spectabilis. Zones 3 through 9. A quick pet note: it's mildly toxic to dogs and cats if ingested, so keep it in mind if your pets graze in the garden. Here's the part that surprises beginners: bleeding heart disappears completely by midsummer. The leaves yellow and the whole plant dies back in the heat. Don't panic. That's completely normal. It's a spring ephemeral. The root sits dormant underground, and it'll re-emerge on its own the following spring without any help from you. Number 9. Yarrow, Achillea millefolium. Zones 3 through 9. Pet flag first. Yarrow is toxic to dogs and cats, according to the ASPCA. Now, here's why it earns a spot. Lean soil actually increases flower production. Rich soil makes yarrow floppy and sparse. Rutgers Cooperative Extension rates yarrow as rarely damaged by deer. It spreads gently by rhizome and fills in bare spots without becoming invasive in most zones. Those were the survivors' 7 plants that need almost nothing from you after the first season. Plant number 8 doesn't just survive drought. It rewards you for it in the most visual way possible. Number 8. Sedum autumn joy, Hylotelephium. Zones 3 through 9. And it's pet safe. Here's what drought actually does to sedum. Under water stress, the plant redirects energy into anthocyanin production, the same pigment that turns maple leaves red in fall. In midsummer, sedum carries pale pink flower heads. By September, they shift to rose. By October, they turn a deep rust bronze. The less rain it gets in late summer, the more dramatic that color transition becomes. Leave it unwatered through August, and by late October, it can glow like a burning coal in the border. The drier that late summer runs, the more striking the color. And one more thing, if the stems flop in summer, don't stake them. It takes about 30 seconds, no special tools needed, just cut the plant back by 1/3 in late May. It'll regrow compact, with more flower heads by fall. That's it. If sedum surprised you, the next plant takes the neglect principle even further. This one manufactures its own fertilizer underground and punishes you for adding more. Number 7. Baptisia australis, blue false indigo. Zones 3 through 9. One critical safety note before we go further: Baptisia is considered toxic to dogs, cats, and people if the foliage or seed pods are eaten, because of the quinolizidine alkaloids it contains, so plant it where pets and grandkids don't graze. Now the biology. Baptisia is a nitrogen-fixing legume. Through a partnership with soil bacteria in its root nodules, it pulls nitrogen straight from the air and converts it into a form the plant can use. It's building its own fertilizer below the surface. Add more fertilizer on top of that, and you trigger leafy growth at the expense of flowering all leaves, no blooms. So never fertilize Baptisia. Deer rarely browse it. It establishes slowly in year 1, then improves every single year for decades. This is a plant that compounds over time. Number 6. Salvia nemorosa, meadow sage. Zones 4 through 9. Compact, upright, with purple spikes from late spring through summer. Deadheading triggers a second bloom flush, but even if you don't deadhead, it still blooms. Drought-tolerant, deer-resistant, and tidy without any pruning. This is the plant that makes a border look designed even when you've done almost nothing. Number 5. Ornamental Allium. Zones 4 through 9. Important flag up front. Ornamental alliums are toxic to dogs and cats. Per the ASPCA, allium species can cause oxidative damage to red blood cells in both, so plant them where pets don't dig. Here's the upside. Those globe-shaped flowers are deer-resistant because deer avoid the sulfur compounds in the allium family, the same chemistry as garlic and onion. Alliums bloom in late spring, and the foliage dies back quietly by midsummer. Plant them between later emerging perennials so the dying leaves stay hidden. Number 4. Catmint, Nepeta. Zones 3 through 9. One of the most forgiving ornamental plants you can put in a garden, and it's pet safe. Though if you've got cats, expect some enthusiastic rolling, since it's a close cousin of catnip. Catmint handles poor soil, drought, heat, and partial shade. It blooms in waves from late spring through fall. Cut it back by half after the first flush 30 seconds, no tools, and it rebounds in 3 to 4 weeks with a second bloom. Deer essentially never touch it. Number 3. Lavender, Lavandula angustifolia. Zones 5 through 9. Pet flag, it's toxic to dogs and cats, according to the ASPCA. Here's the thing about lavender, most people kill it with kindness. Overwatering and rich, fertilized soil are the main ways it dies. Here's why. A 2019 study published in Scientia Horticulturae by Garcia Caparrós and colleagues found that mild water deficit actually increases monoterpene synthesis in lavender. That's the chemical family behind lavender's fragrance. Less water means more scent, more compact growth, and more blooms. Lean, well-draining soil is non-negotiable. Rich soil makes lavender tall, floppy, and prone to crown rot. Number 2. Rudbeckia fulgida goldsturm. Zones 3 through 9. Pet safe, like its black-eyed Susan cousin. This cultivar blooms later than the standard black-eyed Susan and stretches your flowering window deep into fall. It pairs naturally with ornamental grasses and Russian sage for a late-season combination that asks nothing of you. No division needed for at least 5 years. No staking. The one thing beginners get wrong: this plant needs full sun, 6 to 8 hours minimum. Put it in partial shade and it'll grow but won't bloom. Get the sun right, and it fills in on its own year after year. One plant left. The one I mentioned at the very beginning. I promise this changes how you think about fertilizer forever. Number 1. Russian sage, Perovskia atriplicifolia, now also classified as Salvia yangi. Zones 4 through 9. And it's pet safe. Here's why I saved this one for the end. Pile on rich soil or heavy fertilizer, and Russian sage pours its energy into leggy, leafy growth, the stems flop, and the flowers thin out. A 2025 review in the journal Agronomy backs this up. A moderate amount of nitrogen is fine, but push the dose too high, and both the plant's vigor and its quality drop off. So the real secret to maximum bloom isn't feeding it. It's full sun, lean, well-drained soil, and one hard cutback in early spring. That's the whole recipe. In the second half of summer, Russian sage becomes a haze of silver stems and lavender blue flowers that drifts over the border like fog. Deer avoid it. It handles extended drought without wilting. The same principle runs through every plant on this list. They evolve to manage themselves in conditions most gardeners treat as failures. Your job is simple. Establish them, water through the first season, then leave them alone. Here's your quick bucket map before you go. If you've got limited mobility or just want near zero ongoing effort, sedum, baptisia, catmint. If deer are eating everything in your yard, Russian sage, lavender, salvia. If you've killed every plant you've ever tried and just need something that won't give up, sedum, black-eyed Susan, coneflower. The math is simple. According to Penn State Extension, annual beds cost $144.50 every year. A perennial bed established in year 1 runs $30 to $50 in upkeep by year 3. That's roughly $100 saved every season, compounding every year you don't replant. Work smarter, not harder. Pick up one sedum autumn joy this weekend. Full sun, lean soil, pet safe, and genuinely forgiving for beginners. That's your first step. Drop a comment below and tell me which plant on this list you've been overwatering or over-fertilizing. I'll reply with exactly how to neglect it correctly. Because the easiest garden you'll ever grow is the one where you finally stop trying so hard. So hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of gardeners.